Today we're going to talk about multiplying polynomials. So we're going to be looking at these objectives today. Adding and subtracting, we're not going to go back over that, or identifying and classifying polynomials. You know, with adding and subtracting polynomials, all that is combining like terms. There are some practice problems listed on that homework sheet, so you can look at those there. Let me know if you have questions about those. But we're talking about multiplying and then special polynomial products. Okay. This isn't something that you have to memorize, like, oh, objective E is this. You know, that doesn't matter. But I just want you to know what we're looking at today. Okay, we're going to start off by multiplying a binomial times a trinomial. I'm going to show you two different ways to do this. I don't care which way you do it. It's not going to be specific on the quiz. It's not going to say you must do it this way. Alright, so this is different than what I showed you a few days ago. So don't write this down, what I have now. I'm going to erase it. This and this are not the same thing. Notice that the difference is the parentheses here. Okay? So there are not parentheses here, so the one I have written in black. What you have to do here is just distribute 5. So this second one, all it's saying is distribute 5, not the z. But when they're both in parentheses, z and the 5 are in parentheses, then you're distributing both. Okay, can we see the difference? Okay. So we're going to distribute both the z and the 5 because they're both in parentheses. So I'm going to start off with the z, and I'm going to distribute to every term in that trinomial. So z times z squared is z cubed. Z times negative 5z, negative 5z squared. And z times 25, 25z. And this is called the horizontal method because I'm going to keep things in a single row. So I'm going to distribute the 5, and I'm going to just put it here at the end and keep it in the same row. So 5 times z squared is 5z squared. 5 times negative 5z is negative 25z. And 5 times 25 is 125. Now all we have to do is combine our like terms. Does z cubed have a like term? No? Okay. So I just write that one down. What about negative 5z squared? Does that have a like term? 5z squared. What do I get when I combine those? 0. Okay. What about 25z? Does that have a like term? Okay. What do I get when I combine those? 0. Does 125 have a like term? No. So I just bring that down. And this is my answer. That's not always going to happen where you cancel out and you end up with just 2 terms. Most of the time, you would end up with 4 terms. You'd have a z cubed, a z squared, a z, and a constant. Okay, we're going to do this, the same question, but I'm going to show you the vertical method. So the vertical method is basically the same process you use when you multiplied 3-digit numbers times two-digit numbers in elementary, whatever grade you did that. So I'm going to take the bigger one on top, and by bigger I mean the one with more terms. Okay. Alright, the process is the same as when you learned these with just integers. However, there's no carrying. You're not going to carry the numbers. So when you do 5 times 25, you're just going to write 125. You're not going to just put 5 and try to carry 12 or anything like that. Okay? And then you'll do 5 times negative 5z. And 5 times z squared. Right? Then when it's time to do the z, remember when you were starting here, z times 25, you start a column over. So that's 25z. And just think about it as lining up your like terms. And then z times negative 5 is negative 5z squared. And z times z squared is z cubed. And then what do I do? What's the process from here? Yeah, add down. Okay. So I have 125, because this is an empty spot. That cancels. That cancels. And I bring my z cubed. Now you can't just leave this big space, blank space here. That's a positive 125, so you would write it as z cubed plus 125. The practice problems in your book, I think they tell you a specific method to use. I don't care what method you use, even on those practice problems. Do whatever one you choose. Some people like the second way because it keeps your like terms lined up. Some people like the first way because it takes up less space. So whatever you choose is fine, as long as you're getting your answers correct. Questions about this? Okay. All right, we're going to talk about some special products here. So the product of the binomials a plus b times a minus b gives you a squared minus b squared. This a squared minus b squared is called the difference of squares. We'll talk about that a lot when we're factoring. So difference of squares, that means a and b are perfect squares, a squared and b squared are perfect squares, and difference meaning you're subtracting. So a plus b and a minus b are called conjugates. They're called conjugates. So they're the exact same, except one is addition and one is subtraction. see what happens when we multiply these conjugates. So 5 minus n and 5 plus n are conjugates. Let's multiply those together. So in the past, to multiply two binomials, and we will still use this, we used FOIL. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and still use FOIL, but we'll see that when you have conjugates that you're multiplying, there's a shortcut you can use. All right, let's talk about FOIL. Let's refresh now. So what does the F stand for? First. So multiply the first two numbers of each parenthesis. So that's 25. 5 times 5. What does the O stand for? Outer. So your two outer or outside numbers. So 5 times n is 5n. And then I is inner. So the two inner numbers. Negative n times 5. Negative 5n. What does the L stand for? Left. So the last number in each parenthesis. Negative n times n. Negative n squared. What are my like terms? 5n and negative 5n. So your outer and inner are the like terms. Those are what you'll combine. 5n and negative 5n is 0. Okay, so you get 25 minus n squared. You can leave it in this form. Don't feel like you need to rearrange it to the n squared. That's fine to leave it like this. So when I multiplied conjugates, I got a squared minus b squared. Y squared is 25, n squared is n squared, and minus. So these are different. Okay, let's do a little bit more practicing with that. So we're going to find the conjugate and then multiply the two together. What is the conjugate of 7x minus 10? 7x plus 10. Okay, let's multiply those two together. If you don't remember the shortcut, what can you use? FOIL. If you can't remember the shortcut, use FOIL. But if you do remember it, you can do that, and it's faster. So what's the square of 7x? 49, you have to square the 7 too. 49x squared. What is 100? What is 10 squared? 100. And it's difference, so subtraction. Okay, look at the next one. What is the conjugate of square root of x plus 3? Good. Square root of x minus 3. Okay, I want to multiply those together. So since they're conjugates, I can use a squared minus b squared. So what's square root of x squared? X. What is 3 squared? And then minus. Remember, you can use FOIL if you don't remember a squared minus b squared. That only works if you multiply conjugates. If you have a regular multiplying binomials problem, like this, what would you do here? FOIL. There's not a shortcut for this. You would just use FOIL. These are special cases. Same with this. Squaring a binomial, we have a shortcut. I will use this shortcut a lot. You will end up memorizing it because we use it so frequently. Okay, this is if when you square a binomial and it's addition, this is if it's subtraction. When I talk you through it, it really doesn't matter if it's plus or minus. We'll still get the right answer just as I talk you through it. So we just did rules of exponents, and we saw when we had an exponent outside of parentheses, we usually distributed that. Well, that was if you were multiplying on the inside of parentheses, not if you're adding or subtracting. So this is not correct. Okay? Not correct. That is wrong. Okay? Here's why. When you square something, you multiply it by itself. Okay? If I FOIL this, I get a squared. My outer is negative 3a. The inner is negative 3a. And the last is plus 9. Combine. You miss that middle term. If you just distribute, that's not correct. You would miss the middle term. So the shortcut, notice that has a 2. That's because you get 2 of these. All right, let's talk about the shortcut. Okay, so the shortcut tells me to square the first number, a squared, then multiply the 2 together. So a times negative 3 is negative 3a, and then double it. So negative 6a, and then square the last number, which is 9. Negative 3 squared is positive 9. So no matter what, this is a plus here. All right, we're going to use this shortcut with this one. Okay, square the first number. So square root of x squared is, okay, multiply the 2 together. Square root of x times 7 is just 7 square root of x. Times 2, 14 square root of x. And then square the last number, 49. These are not like terms because this x is under the radical. If you don't remember the shortcut, what do? FOIL. Write it twice and use FOIL.